It was not a delay. The silence you have been sitting in was not an abandonment. Help is here. I am bringing it to you right now. Do not scroll past this. If you walk away tonight, you will spend another year carrying a crushing weight, completely blind. You will keep holding doors that are breaking your hands. My weary one, I know exactly how tired you are. I watched you yesterday. You did not even have the energy to pray out loud. You just closed your eyes and hoped I could hear the heavy sigh in your chest. I heard it. I felt the exact moment your spirit sank. You are running on empty. You are trying to pour from a cup that has nothing left inside it. I am telling you what is moving toward you tonight. I am telling you because I refuse to let you break under this load. Nothing about your current struggle is an accident. I have watched this happen 10,000 times, and I am stepping in to end it. Stay with me through this message. You will finally understand why your cries for rescue felt ignored. You will feel the physical weight leave your shoulders before we finish, and you will know exactly how to say no to the burdens tomorrow morning. I need you to do one small thing before I reveal the truth. If you are tired in a way sleep does not reach, leave one word below. Any word will do. I am reading. This is your first step toward freedom. Let me tell you what is actually happening. You think you are losing your strength. You look in the mirror and call yourself weak. You tell yourself that you are failing the people who depend on you. That is a lie. Your body is not failing. Your devotion is not fading away. You are simply exhausted because you are fueling the wrong machine. The exhaustion you feel does not come from a lack of willpower. It comes from an agreement you made in the dark. You agreed to carry things that I never asked you to touch. That is the hidden mechanism draining your life, but that is only the very first layer of the truth. What lies beneath it is much heavier, and I am about to expose it entirely. Do not move. You have spent years blaming your own character for a fatigue that belongs to someone else. You assumed you were just not praying hard enough. You assumed you needed more discipline. I never asked you for more discipline. I asked you for surrender. The enemy wants you to believe you are simply broken, but you are not broken. You are overloaded, and the load was a trap. There is a very specific moment I want to talk about. I was sitting in the car with you last Tuesday. The engine was off. The house was fully lit just a few steps away. Your family was inside waiting for you. And you sat there in the driver's seat for 5 full minutes before you opened the door. You had to gather the pieces of yourself just to walk inside and be the person they needed. No one in that house knew about those 5 minutes. They only saw the smile you put on when you finally turned the handle. They only heard the cheerful greeting, but I saw the deep breath you took. I saw the invisible armor you strapped onto your chest. You are the keeper of a house that never truly thanks you. You hold the sky up for everyone else. You are the one who knows every schedule. You remember every detail. You catch every falling piece before it hits the ground, and you do it so quietly that people assume it takes no effort at all. They assume you are made of stone. But stone does not weep in the shower when the water is running. Stone does not lie awake at 2 in the morning wondering who will take care of the caretaker. I see the secret resentment that builds up inside you. You feel guilty for feeling angry. You love your people. You want to serve them. But there is a quiet desperation screaming inside your bones. You want someone to notice the heavy lifting. You want someone to tell you to sit down. You want to be held instead of always doing the holding. That is a holy desire. It is not a sin. You have been holding doors that I never assigned you. You stand there blocking the wind and taking the hits. You do it because you think everything will collapse if you step away. That is the silent curse of the strong one. You believe your only value is in your absolute usefulness, and when you are not useful, you feel completely worthless. I am here to shatter that lie tonight. The help you have been begging for is not a new burst of energy. You do not need more endurance. You need a rescue. You need a father to step into the room and take the heavy bags out of your bleeding hands. I am stepping in. I am taking them. The help has arrived, and it begins with you realizing that half of those bags were never yours to carry in the first place. I know there is a sentence you have been holding inside your heart for a very long time. You are thinking that you asked me for help 1,000 times. You begged for relief in ways no one ever showed you, and you waited patiently for an answer that never came. And the room just stayed completely quiet. The silence felt exactly like a heavy stone. I will not tell you that the room was not quiet. It was quiet. You did not imagine the deafening silence of those incredibly long nights. You did not deserve to feel ignored. No one has the right to explain your pain away with a simple religious phrase while you are actively hurting. But I will also not tell you that you prayed the wrong way. You did not make a single mistake. There was no better hour or truer posture you could have chosen, and a different arrangement of words would not have changed anything at all. Anyone who tells you that your faith was too small is telling you an absolute lie. I want to offer you the truth right now. Silence is not the same as absence. The human heart just struggles to tell them apart when it is completely exhausted. A father sitting in the dark beside his sleeping child makes no sound at all. The child might wake up and believe he is completely alone in the world, but he is only seeing the shadows around his bed. He is absolutely wrong about the house. He is not wrong about the dark. The dark was real, and it was terrifying. But the father was sitting there breathing the exact same air. I was there. I am not asking you to call those lonely years good. I am simply asking you to realize that you were never abandoned inside them. You felt the crushing pressure because the load was incredibly heavy, and it was never a reflection of your lack of spiritual strength. If that truth lands somewhere deep inside your spirit today, I want you to do something for me. I need your response. You do not have to write a long paragraph to prove your faith. I just want you to type, "I was not imagining the weight," in the comments below. Write it down in your own hand because you need to see it. You have never once been allowed to acknowledge how heavy it really was, so I want you to put it down where I can clearly see it. I am reading your words. It matters to me. Now that you have stopped defending the silence, we can move forward. I can finally tell you what is actually breaking your spirit. You have looked at your exhausted hands and assumed your life was just too hard. You thought you were failing the test. But you are not breaking under the weight of your own life, because your actual life was never the core problem. You are breaking under the weight of lives that do not belong to you. You are holding doors that I never told you to open. You stand in the doorway blocking the storm for people who should be standing on their own 2 feet. And because you are holding their doors, your own house is flooding with water, and you are running out of breath trying to save everyone. You cannot protect everyone. You are the keeper of a house that never thanks you. You step into the gap every single time someone else drops their responsibility, and you do it so automatically that you do not even realize you have a choice. You assume it is your holy duty to fix every single broken thing you see. I never gave you that duty. It is a false assignment. This false duty is the exact reason why your prayers for strength felt unanswered. I will not give you the strength to carry a burden I desperately want you to drop. Giving you more endurance would only keep you trapped in the wrong position for another decade. I withheld the energy because I wanted you to finally let go of the heavy door. The dropping is the actual miracle. Help is not a sudden burst of stamina to keep holding the wrong things. True help is the permission to walk away from a post you were never drafted for. I am bringing that incredible help to you today. I am going to show you exactly which doors you need to release, and you will finally feel the peace you have been begging for. You will feel the terror of letting go, and then you will be free. Rest here for one more breath. What I am about to show you is not a harsh lesson. It is the shape of a mechanism that has been operating in your life without your permission. When you see it clearly, you will feel a massive wave of absolute relief wash over your tired bones. You will realize that your exhaustion was never a moral failure. It was just a misunderstanding of my voice. Let the relief wash over you right now. You have spent decades apologizing for a weakness that was actually just a symptom of a stolen load. I have plenty of room for your tears tonight. I have room for the anger you feel toward the people who let you carry it. And we are going to walk into the root of this together. Keep listening to my voice. The truth is right here. Listen closely to what is approaching your life right now. There is no version of this story where I let you find out the hard way. I am stepping in to break a cycle you cannot see. Let me describe a morning you have lived 1,000 times. You actually slept through the entire night, but you still woke up with your jaw completely tight before the day even started. You stood at the kitchen counter with your hand around a cup, and you could not even remember reaching for it. A name flashed on your phone screen, and your shoulders instantly climbed up toward your ears. This is not the normal tiredness of a physical body that worked hard in a field. A body that works hard, sleeps deep, and wakes up incredibly hungry. This is a completely different kind of tired. It has been stalking you for years, and you have explained it to yourself so incredibly patiently. You tell yourself that you are just getting older. You whisper that you are losing your edge. You call yourself weak in a tone you would never ever use on a person you genuinely love. Hear me clearly tonight. That is an absolute lie. You are not weak, and you were never weak. The heavy fatigue destroying your peace is not a medical mystery. It is a spiritual theft. I want to reveal the hidden truth right now. Exhaustion does not come from the specific weight you were given. It comes directly from the crushing weight you were never given. Somewhere along the way you began to pick up heavy things I never placed in your hands. Your grown child making poor choices. Your sibling constantly losing their temper. Your parent holding on to a disappointment that was old before you were even born. You carry another person through their endless mess like a man carrying water in his bare arms. It completely soaks him, and it spills the entire way before he ever arrives anywhere. I am going to name this terrible pattern so you can never unsee it again, because naming a thing strips away its hidden power. This is the borrowed load. It has your tired fingerprints all over it, but it was never yours to hold. You have been carrying it faithfully, but it was a massive trap built by the enemy. Now I want you to look back at your history with me. Look back at those long years very gently. Those brutal years you have called your failing years were not failures. You were hauling. Every morning you woke up and picked up emotional bags that belonged to other adults. And every night you stood in harsh judgment over yourself for walking so slowly while carrying burdens that were not yours. You were never a lazy person. You were dangerously overloaded. And a loaded soul that keeps walking through a violent storm is not weak. She is profoundly faithful. I saw that beautiful faithfulness the entire time. Even when all you could see was how far behind you had fallen, I was watching you carry the entire world on your shoulders. But the blind carrying ends today. I ask something very small of you right now. I do not want a grand vow, and I do not need a massive transformation. I want you to ask one simple question before you pick anything up tomorrow morning, because your freedom depends on the answer. Did you hand me this? Ask it at the kitchen sink, and ask it before you answer that demanding phone call. Just pause and ask the holy question, and when the quiet answer is no, I want you to set the problem down. Set it down without a giant speech and without a single apology. Putting down a crisis I never gave you is not a cruel act of abandonment, but rather a perfect act of holy obedience. Begin with just one thing tomorrow, one single thing. That is entirely enough for me, because it was never yours to hold. You may set it down. Breathe that beautiful truth in for a moment. You are a child of the long obedience. You have proven your amazing loyalty 1,000 times over, and now I am teaching you the holy rhythm of actual rest. A house does not fall apart simply because you stop holding the wooden walls together. I am holding the walls. You are allowed to sit down safely. You do not have to earn your right to breathe. Your value to me has nothing to do with your endless usefulness. And I love you when your hands are completely empty. I love you when you refuse to fix another broken mess. Just sit here in the quiet with me. Feel the heavy tension leaving your tired jaw. We are moving into a much better space. The silence in this room is not demanding anything from you right now. You have spent your entire life running toward the next emergency, and I am showing you how to stay perfectly still. There is nothing you need to solve before you go to sleep tonight. I am guarding the door. I am carrying the heavy things you just dropped. You are safe here. I have watched you in the middle of the night. It was 2 in the morning, and the entire house was completely dark while everyone else was asleep. You were standing in the kitchen, wiping down counters that were already perfectly clean. You folded towels that did not need folding. You organized things that were already in their proper place. You moved around the quiet house like a ghost trying to find a safe place to rest. You fold clothes while your mind races through 100 different tragic scenarios. You fix things that are not even broken just to keep your hands moving. I have watched you do this for decades. It is a defense mechanism you built when you were very young, and you still use it today. You realized that if you looked busy enough, the painful memories would finally leave you alone. You learned this relentless running from someone in your past. You watched a parent scrub floors when they were grieving, and you inherited the exact same coping mechanism. Which one of you is going to break this exhausting cycle? If you are ready to put an end to it, type, "It stops in my house" below. Put it in writing so the enemy knows you are finally done running. You turn the television on the exact second you walk into an empty room. You do not even care what is playing on the screen. You just need the loud background noise to fill up the empty corners of your quiet house, because you are terrified of what the silence will say to you. When the noise stops, the heavy thoughts immediately rush in. You have a very polite name for this endless midnight pacing. You call yourself a relentless perfectionist. You tell your friends that you just like things tidy, and you cannot relax until the work is completely done. That is a beautiful excuse. But it is completely false. You are not a perfectionist, and you are not just a naturally hard worker. You are using productivity as an emotional shield. Perfectionism is not a high standard you set for yourself. It is a hiding place. As long as you are fixing a physical mess in the kitchen, you do not have to look at the massive emotional mess inside your own heart. I am going to name this behavior right now. This is the polished hiding place. You clean the outside of your life so no one will ask you about the inside. You stay busy so you never have to sit still with the awful silence. The silence holds a painful question that you are incredibly terrified to hear. You are terrified that if you finally stop moving, you will completely fall apart. But the polished hiding place is actually keeping you trapped in your pain. Now look back at all those years of endless organizing and working late. Look gently at the decades you spent trying to make everything look completely flawless. You were not being extremely productive. You were hiding in plain sight. You were protecting a very deep wound that no one ever tended to, and you thought you were just failing to relax. You were actually guarding a frightened child who did not know how to handle the quiet. That is not a character flaw, my beloved child. That is a desperate survival strategy. I saw the wounded child under all that beautiful polish. I never cared about the spotless kitchen counters or the perfectly folded laundry, because I only cared about the heavy sorrow you were trying to scrub away. I am taking the cleaning cloth out of your hands tonight. I want you to do something incredibly brave for me tomorrow. Find an empty room in your house and sit down for 10 minutes. Do not turn on the television, and do not bring your phone into the room with you. Do not look around for something to organize or fix. Just sit in the quiet and face it. 10 minutes of an uncovered room is the only thing the enemy cannot survive. Whatever emotion rises up in those 10 minutes is exactly what I want to heal. You do not need to solve the emotion. You just need to stop running away from it. Face the silence with me, because the silence cannot destroy you when I am sitting in the exact same room. You are allowed to stop running now. The exhausting performance is officially over. You can leave the dishes in the sink and the mail on the table, and the world will keep spinning if you close your eyes and rest your tired body. I am guarding the house while you finally take a breath. The silence is completely safe now because my presence is filling it. There is nothing you have to prove to me tonight. You do not have to present a perfect life for me to love you. I love the messy version of you. I love the version of you that leaves the kitchen dirty and simply falls asleep on the couch. You are deeply cherished exactly as you are, so let the peace wash over your anxious mind. Remember the hiding place I just named for you. I want to show you the beautiful life that exists completely outside of it. Come with me to a morning, a season from now. Nothing special has been announced on the news. You wake up early, and you walk into your kitchen to pour a simple glass of water. The house is totally quiet. You stand by the window looking out, and your chest does not feel tight at all. The heavy anxiety is simply not there anymore. You do not look around the room for a mess to frantically clean up. You do not rehearse a painful conversation in your head before the sun even rises. The polishing and the hiding have stopped. The silence around you does not feel terrifying, because you are finally safe inside your own mind. That morning is not a foolish fantasy. She already exists. That beautiful version of you is standing on the exact other side of one thing you are still gripping tightly. You are gripping the belief that your worth comes from your endless effort. The distance between you and that morning is not measured in time. It is measured in permission. You just need to say out loud that you are allowed to rest without earning it. Say it tonight, and that beautiful morning will start walking toward you. Now I hear the thought rising up in your tired mind. You are thinking that you have heard this before. You are remembering the time you tried to let the heavy burdens go. You made a promise to yourself, and you rested for 11 days. But on the 12th day, you picked the heavy bags right back up. And the exhausting cycle started all over again. You are telling me the absolute truth. I will not argue with your own painful history. You lived every single hour of it, and I was right there sitting beside you for every hour of it. But I need you to hear the crucial difference tonight. You tried to fix a symptom without uprooting the hidden mechanism. What you tried in the past was just behavior modification. You tried to wake up earlier. You tried to ignore the messy kitchen. You tried to smile when you were actually falling apart inside. You built a temporary discipline, and you carried it bravely until your physical strength gave out completely. Strength always gives out eventually. Your natural strength was never meant to hold a thing this heavy for this long. I am not asking you to reach for a new discipline today. I am speaking about the deep root beneath your behavior. You did not fail me, my child. You just worked faithfully on the wrong layer of the problem. You have carried the false duty for so long that it feels like your actual skin. You believe that if you stop managing the crisis, you will lose your identity. I am separating your holy identity from your trauma tonight. The help I am bringing you tonight is not just a quick emotional bandage. I am not sending you a temporary burst of motivation to keep holding the wrong doors. I am stepping in to completely shatter the false duty you adopted. I am bringing a fundamental shift to the way you walk through this world. I want you to look at the painful things that happened to you in the past. You survived a storm that would have destroyed a weaker person. But surviving a tragedy does not mean you have to wear it as a permanent name tag. The enemy wants you to define your entire future by the worst thing you ever endured. I am ripping that old label off your chest right now. Your history does not have the authority to dictate your destiny. The abuse you suffered is not your name. The betrayal you survived is not your identity. You are moving into a season of complete liberation, and you must leave the old agreements behind. This is settled in heaven, and I need it to be settled in your mind today. I want you to claim this freedom publicly. I want you to look at the enemy and declare that you are officially done wearing the heavy chains of the past. I need you to type, "I am not what happened" below. Write it down in the comments so you can visibly see your own bold declaration. Type, "I am not what happened," and let the spiritual atmosphere shift around you. When you write it where others can read it, you stop being a victim who just survived a crash. You become a living testimony of my restoring power. Do not walk away from me now. We are moving into the deepest part of this incredibly holy conversation. The silence you have been crying into is about to be completely broken. I am going to show you exactly why your biggest prayers felt ignored. Keep listening. The true answer is finally arriving. There is a specific prayer you have stopped praying out loud. You still say the quiet words inside your head at night, but you took all your emotional weight off them somewhere along the dangerous way. Your voice feels completely empty. The desperate words go up toward the dark ceiling, and they seem to bounce right back down to your heavy chest. You stop mid-sentence because you feel like nobody in heaven is actually listening to you anymore. You catch yourself staring at the blank wall in the dark. You think about how many times you have begged for a sudden rescue. You've asked for my help in the exact way you were perfectly taught. You pleaded, using desperate words you did not even know you possessed. But heaven seemed absolutely frozen. You feel entirely foolish for even asking again. You wipe your wet eyes and pull the warm blanket up to your chin. You decide to just endure the heavy pain completely alone. You have drawn a deeply tragic conclusion from my prolonged silence. You concluded that I looked at your desperate situation and simply said no. On the absolute hardest nights, you concluded something far worse than a simple rejection. You decided that I was not listening to your voice at all. You believed that I abandoned you to figure out the massive storm by yourself, my beloved child. I want to answer that terrible fear directly tonight. I heard every single broken word you whispered. Not one of those lonely midnight hours went unwitnessed by heaven. I saw the hot tears soaking your pillow, and my silence was never my word for no. You did not pray the wrong way. You did not lack the holy faith required to move my mighty hand. Anyone who tells you that your spiritual technique was flawed is speaking a complete lie. I never turned my back on your quiet suffering. Here is what no one has told you about the silent seasons. Silence and refusal are not the exact same thing. The exhausted human heart cannot tell them apart, so it fills the quiet room with the absolute worst word it knows. But listen to what actually happens while you are desperately waiting. Between the painful asking and the final arriving, a massive spiritual work is being done. The vital work is being done on the vessel and not on the water. A massive blessing that comes before your bare hands are ready is not a mercy at all. It is a heavy loss wrapped in beautiful packaging. I have watched premature blessings absolutely crush the very people who begged for them. Some of what you asked for is currently being rebuilt. Some of it is being made much better than the original thing you demanded. I am going to name this frustrating season so you can finally understand its holy purpose. This is the unfinished yes. I love you far too much to hand you a giant miracle in the completely wrong shape. The confusing delay is not a harsh punishment for your past mistakes. The delay is my protective covering. I am holding the answer back because I am actively expanding your emotional capacity to actually survive the blessing. You thought I was ignoring you, but I was actually preparing the solid ground under your tired feet. Now I want you to look back over the brutal years you have called completely abandoned. You were not being ignored in those dark rooms. You were being beautifully formed. Ask yourself honestly what you can carry right now that you could not have carried before the terrible waiting began. Your deep empathy for broken people did not come from your easy days. Your incredible emotional resilience did not grow when everything was perfectly comfortable. All of that quiet strength came directly from the long silence you thought was a cruel rejection. The frustrating waiting room was never empty of my warm presence. You simply could not see my hands working because I was working on the one thing you never thought to look at. I was working on you. I was patiently forging a powerful spirit that will not shatter when the heavy winds finally blow through your front door. So I will not ask you to force yourself back into that exact same prayer tonight. I am asking you to change just one single word. Where you have been crying and asking why I have not moved, I want you to ask what I am doing instead. Change the heavy posture of your heart from an abandoned victim to a trusting child. Say it once out loud before you finally go to sleep. Ask me what I am building inside your spirit right now. Take a physical piece of paper tomorrow morning and write down one thing that is different in your character since the day you began asking. Only one thing. That simple page is your hard evidence. On the difficult nights when the silence gets overwhelmingly loud again, you will not have to guess if I am secretly working. You will have your own handwriting proving that you have been completely transformed by the holy waiting. Let that wonderful truth settle deeply into your tired bones for a moment. You are not forgotten. The help you begged for is already in motion. Every single minute you stay here with me is adding to your total restoration. Do not walk away from my voice now. I have fully explained the silence, but there is one massive door you keep knocking on that I am about to lock forever. You absolutely need to hear this next part. Before we climb the final mountain of this message, I need you to do something physical. I want you to make a public declaration about the false duty we just destroyed. If you are finally ready to let the unassigned weight fall off your tired shoulders, type, "I release the borrowed load" below. Make it a permanent record. Do it right now before your mind tries to talk you out of it. I am watching you take your beautiful power back. Now I need you to look closely at a door in your life that keeps slamming violently on your hands. You walk away bleeding, and you promise yourself you will never go back. You swear that you are done trying to force it, but a few quiet months pass by. The fresh pain dulls just enough for you to forget the sharp sting, and you find yourself standing on the exact same porch knocking softly. You desperately hope that this time the ending will somehow be miraculously different. You know exactly which situation I am talking about right now. It is the toxic relationship you keep trying to fix with your own bare hands. It is the familiar environment you keep returning to even though it drains your entire soul. You walk into the exact same burning room and act surprised when you catch on fire again. The definition of insanity is knocking on a solid brick wall and expecting a warm welcome, and you have been knocking for years. You have told yourself a very specific lie about this impossible door. You believe that if you just try a little bit harder, it will finally swing open. You assume you are just not being patient enough or loving enough to fix the broken people hiding behind it. You think that your constant sacrifice will eventually change their hard hearts. My beloved child, that is not holy perseverance. That is an incredibly dangerous illusion. And it is tearing your gentle spirit completely apart. I am bringing the ultimate help to you today, and you need to understand that my mighty help does not always look like a wide open door. An unhealed wound does not sit still and wait for time to pass. It actively walks you toward whatever feels vaguely familiar. It pushes you back into the chaos because familiar feels like home even when your old home was incredibly unsafe. You are seeking out the pain because peace feels too quiet. You keep knocking because your broken history recognizes its own messy handwriting. I am stepping directly in front of that destructive door right now. I am locking it permanently with my own hand, and I am throwing the iron key into the deep ocean. I name this protective mechanism so you can finally stop fighting my protection. This is the guarded gate. I locked it myself. I shut it because I love you. Now look back at every single time you were fiercely rejected by that exact situation. Look at the terrible nights you were left standing in the cold, wondering what you did wrong to deserve such harsh treatment. You were not being cruelly punished, and you were not failing to be enough for them. You were being aggressively protected by heaven. The painful rejection was my perfect rescue. I was pulling you out of a trap. I slammed that door on your hands because walking through it would have destroyed the beautiful future I am building for you. Every time you cried over that closed door, I was protecting your holy destiny. Every time you felt abandoned by their sudden silence, I was shielding your fragile heart. Every time you thought you lost a massive opportunity, I was actually hiding you from a terrible storm. I saved your life when you thought I was ignoring you. I am handing you the final revelation of this holy hour. Listen to me very carefully in the place where you make your daily decisions. You are not breaking under your own life, my child. You have been holding doors I never assigned you, and my help arrives today to close them. That is the spectacular help you begged for. The arrival of my grace looks like a locked door. Let the door stay closed. Take a full step back from that dangerous porch. Wipe the dirty dust off your tired feet and walk away. Do not look back at the burning building. Do not knock again. The miserable season of begging for tiny scraps of affection is officially over today. Stand up and walk in the other direction. We are coming to the end of this message, but there is one thing I have not given you yet. I have been holding it back on purpose, because it would have meant absolutely nothing to you an hour ago. I call it the last thing I kept. You will not receive it in the part of this that sounds like a normal ending. You will receive it after. Do not walk away when the voice goes soft. Stay for the final piece. Hear this warning before the room goes completely quiet. I am speaking with absolute urgency right now. If you go back to the exact same false duty tomorrow morning, you will lose the incredible freedom I just handed you. You will spend another year asking me for the exact thing that was sitting right in front of you tonight, and you walked away from it. I absolutely refuse to let you do that. I am standing between you and that terrible outcome right now, and I am not moving a single inch. I am holding the line for you. But you must drop the heavy bags. Do not go back to the old toxic habit. The cost of returning to that familiar pain is far higher than you think. It will cost you your very soul. You will wake up a year from now, and you will realize you wasted another season trying to save people who did not want to be saved. I will not let you waste another holy year. The door is locked. Step away from the dangerous porch. You have given enough of your precious life to a task I never assigned you. Come with me to an evening, a season from now. It arrives without any special warning. The phone rings while you are drying your hands in the kitchen, and the name on the screen is the one you could not look at for years. But your stomach does not drop. You simply dry your hands and answer it. You say hello in your own steady voice. You do not use the careful voice you built just for them. You do not brace for an emotional impact. The conversation is completely ordinary. You do not feel the desperate need to fix their terrible mood. You just listen. You hear their complaints, but the complaints do not enter your spirit. You remain entirely separate from their endless chaos. And halfway through that call, you realize you are not defending yourself at all. You are not managing the next sentence before you speak. There is no small animal hiding in your chest waiting for the sudden attack. When the call ends, you set the phone down and go back to the dishes. The peaceful evening belongs entirely to you. That evening is not a foolish fantasy. She is very real, and she is very close. She is standing on the exact other side of your urgent need to fix everyone else. You just have to let the heavy door stay locked. The distance between you and that beautiful evening is just one simple decision. It is the decision to stop being the savior of your family. I am the savior. You are just my beloved child. The teaching is finished now. Let the words rest. I want to speak to you the way a father speaks at the end of a very long day. I told you there was one last thing I kept for the ending, and I am handing it to you right now. The secret is that you never had to earn my deep love through your endless suffering. You thought your pain was the currency that bought my holy attention. It was not. I loved you before you ever picked up a single heavy burden. I loved you when you were completely empty. You have spent decades trying to prove your worth by carrying everyone else. You never had to prove anything to me. Your worth was established before you were even born. Because you kept showing up on the mornings when nobody was watching, I am moving you out of the room where you carry everyone else. I am bringing you into a beautiful room where you are completely held. You will no longer answer doors I did not open. You will no longer translate your deep pain into an acceptable smile. You will simply rest. And this powerful peace will not stop with you. The children in your family will learn how to breathe because they watched you finally exhale. My weary one, that is exactly what my help looks like. It looks like a quiet house. It looks like an empty hand. It looks like a mind that finally knows how to sleep. You came in here carrying something you had stopped noticing you were carrying. You are not walking out with it. You are walking out with empty hands and a protected heart. The heavy door is locked behind you. I am keeping the iron key, and I will not give it back to you. You are completely safe now. The exhausting performance is over. Let the quiet wash over your tired mind. I am with you in the living room. I am with you in the silent kitchen at midnight. I have always been with you. You just could not feel my presence because your hands were too full of other things. Now your hands are empty, and you can finally feel my warm grip. You will wake up tomorrow morning and notice that the heavy dread is gone. You will breathe deeply for the first time in a decade. That is my promise to you. I do not make promises I cannot keep. I have said everything I came to say tonight. The rest is up to you. There is someone you know who is breaking under a massive weight today. They are hiding it just like you did. Send this message to them right now and tell them they do not have to carry it tomorrow. Tell them the false duty is officially over. Now go. Do not rush. Walk out of here like a person who is entirely free. Step into your new season with absolute confidence. I am walking right beside you.